Welcome to the Transum Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transum.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
Hello, and welcome to podcast number 77. I'm recording this on the last day of March, which is when I normally record the podcast for the following month, in this case for April, but it's also a Wednesday, and Wednesdays I normally get up at 5 o'clock and drive over to Bangkok Airport, where around the airport there is a cycle track, 23 kilometers all the way around, and I thought, right, let's do a bit of multitasking and record the podcast as I'm cycling around. So let's just go up a gear here. Now, I'm not sure what other sounds will be recorded by this microphone. You may hear the odd plane taking off. They're not that loud actually, considering this track goes right around the airport. I don't know why, but they're a little bit quiet. And of course there aren't many planes taking off at the moment, mainly cargo planes, and as I look to my left I can see the majority of the Thai fleet are all lined up in a very straight line, not going anywhere due to the current pandemic travel restrictions. And I can see the planes have got big orange covers over their jet engines to stop birds going in and making nests, I suppose. Anyway, as we travel around, you may hear some of the background sounds. You may hear people whooshing past me as they overtake, going much faster than I'm going. You may hear the birds twittering, and in fact there's quite a bit of wildlife around the airport in this area that's not built up. There's sort of a moat going around the airport, big area of water, and every time I cycle around you'll see at least two big monitor lizards swimming with just their heads above water in this water around the airport. But anyway, let's get on with the podcast, and just as I normally do, I'll start off with the puzzle of the month. The cost of a meal in a restaurant is increased by 4%, and the new cost of this meal is a whole number of pounds. And what you have to do is work out, well, how much did the meal originally cost, and what is the new cost if it's a whole number of pounds. And of course this puzzle also works in dollars or euros or whatever currency you fancy. So while you think about that, the answer will be at the end of this podcast, if I haven't keeled over by there, and I'll get on with the normal routine of telling you what's new on the Transum website, and we'll start off with trigonometry. So the trigonometry online exercise has had a complete makeover. Lots of levels now. The first 6 levels, trying to decide how teachers would break this down, but anyway, in the end I decided that because there are 3 basic trig ratios, and because there are somewhere you have to find the side and somewhere you have to find the angle, so 2 types for each of the 3 trig ratios, that makes 6 levels altogether. But you may not teach trigonometry like that. You may teach the 3 trig ratios, sine, cos and tan, all together. So level 7, which is actually the default level when you go to this page, that's a mixed exercise of basic trig questions to get you started, and then level 8, I've called it a review. It's 20 questions which start off with the very simple basic one-step calculations, and then go on to real life situations where you may need to use more than one step in your solving operation. Now, as well as trigonometry, there's also trigonometry in 3 dimensions, which has also had a bit of a makeover, and that's now in 4 levels, if I remember rightly, and or is it 5? But anyway, one of the levels is where the questions are just wordy questions and there are no diagrams, because part of the skill for 3-dimensional work is sketching the diagrams and then of course drawing the 2-dimensional right angle triangles that you can apply the trig ratios to. And also, of course, not new, but it's been there some time, is the advanced trigonometry exercises, which include the sine rule, the cosine rule, and the sine formula for the area of a triangle. Okay, so that's trigonometry. Now, all the links for the things I'm talking about can be found at transom.org/newsletter. So that's where you'll find the direct links, but of course you could also use the search facility on the website. A little game that's been, well, rewritten from the ground up actually, is called Don't Shoot the Square. And it's a bit of a fun game where numbers appear on the screen as if flying from outer space, and you have to click on them as fast as you can to earn points. But if you click on a square number, you lose 3 points. So you have to be able to recognize the square numbers, and the fun of the game will give you lots of practice recognizing them while having fun at the same time. So there are 10 levels to that, and I'm not sure whether I've made the upper levels too hard, but so far people have earned trophies for the first 5 levels, but they can't seem to get beyond level 6. We'll see. Anyway, have a little bit of fun there. Don't shoot the square. Now, during the last 12 months, I've been teaching a lot of lessons using Zoom or Teams or Meet, and towards the latter part of that time, I started creating backgrounds for me so that I could have a background rather than just my office, and the background would have some mathematics on it. So, for example, one of the backgrounds has got a number of indices questions that need evaluating. So I can just point up to a question if I need to fill the odd 2 minutes or just change tack for some reason, and the pupil then has to evaluate that power. Another one maybe is just the numbers from 1 to 12, and I can point to them and the student has to work out that number multiplied by whichever times table they're practicing at the time. So that just adds a bit of variety, just like this cycle ride podcast making is adding variety to the podcasts. I always think very important that maths lessons should contain a lot of variety, but they should also contain some familiar elements that the pupils can become at ease with and confident at doing. So blended is best, that's what I say. Okay, I've got a scrap of paper in my left hand that's blowing all over the place. I'm trying to read what I need to talk about next. Yes, I've just finished recording the circles video to help with the circles online exercise in finding areas, circumference, diameters, radius, arc lengths and sector areas. And for the first time I've tried my hand at stop motion animation. So I was quite pleased with myself. It took a long time, as you can imagine, but showing how a piece of string across a circle can fit around the outside of the circle 3 and a bit times. That's the United Parcel Service jumbo jet on the left, the cargo plane, just getting ready to take off. It's just turning now, but it's still not very noisy. Where was I? Oh yes, the circles help video. And also tried to show with a bit of animation how the cheese slices that you get in a circular box, you know the ones I mean, the little cheese wedges, cream cheese that's in the shape of sectors, and how you could take those out of the box and make a very, very rough rectangle, and show how that can be used to, I'm not sure whether derive is the right word, but to understand or at least confirm the formula for the area of a circle. So that's the circle help video, which is live now. It's coming up to Easter. I think it's Easter Sunday this Sunday is Easter Sunday. And I don't have a specific Easter section on the website. The closest I get is the egg box investigation. Oh, someone just cycled past me there and surprised that I was talking about egg boxes to nobody in particular. Anyway, can you arrange little Easter eggs in egg boxes to make different patterns, and can you find all the different possible patterns it's possible to make with, let's say, two cream eggs in a 6-section egg box? Anyway, the online version of this allows you to make these patterns and then click a little camera icon to take a picture of the pattern that you've made and to record that, and the challenge is to find all of the different patterns. Oh, that's Air Asia just flying off there. That'll be a domestic flight. Don't know whether you can hear that. So, chocolate eggs. If you eat chocolate eggs a long time before Easter or a long time after Easter, is that extrapolation? Maybe not. Okay, let's get my bit of paper. Oh yes, coming to the end now. I just wanted to remind you that there is a page on the Transom website for end of term activities, mathematical, unusual, fun things to do at the end of term when you're not tied to the curriculum, and also holiday activities that you may wish to give your pupils the option to do over the Easter holiday. Of course, here in Thailand, it's not the Easter holiday, it's the Songkran holiday, the Songkran festival. But anyway, there's also a page on revision. So for those that are doing an exam of some sort after the holiday, there is a revision page which links to all sorts of things, including checklists of the syllabus, so that you can go in and with a traffic light system show which items of the syllabus you're confident with, which you haven't got a clue about, and which you're okay but you just need a bit more practice. Oh, I can see a little rest stop ahead, which there are 3 of them around this 23-kilometre circuit of Bangkok Airport. So I may try to finish this podcast by the time I get there, and then I can put this microphone away. Not sure whether it's worked at all or whether it's really noisy and windy, but there we go. Anyway, what else? Politically correct. Yes, I do try to be politically correct in all aspects of activities on the website. I do think it's important to have the little cartoon figures as things that attract students and motivate students. I mean, well, you've only got to look at the Cartoon Network or video games to know that students are motivated by sort of those sort of images. So I try to, over the course of the website, have a range of different types of people, but any page that you go to clearly won't have the full range. But if there's anything that you think on the website that is not quite politically correct, please let me know. Somebody pointed out something on a very old page this month, the old word for the Inuit people. Anyway, I've changed that, so do let me know. And any other suggestions, comments that you have for activities, please let me know. Right, I'm coming up to this rest stop now, and I think I'll finish off the podcast after I've finished this circuit, got home, which is about 30 minutes drive from here, and had a shower, and I'm back in the office. So I'll be back again in a moment.
You can find Transum Mathematics at www.transum.org.
And I'm back in the office. Phew! Right, I'm all fresh, ready to go. Had a shower, had a coffee, and it seems noisier here than it was at the airport. There's some building going on next door. Oh well, we'll press on regardless. Okay, all that is left to be said is the answer to this month's puzzle. The original price of the meal was £12.50, which after the 4% increase became £13. So the way you'd work it out, well, it's probably best viewed in the newsletter, transum.org/newsletter, rather than me reading out the equations, but basically you could set up an equation, let the original price in pence be P, and the new price is N, and then you can say P multiplied by 104 over 100, that's the 4% increase, is equal to 100N, because N's in pounds. And then rearrange that to make N the subject. And because we know that N is an integer, and 1,250 and 13 don't share any common factors, so then P must be divisible by 1,250, and the smallest value of N, which makes that happen, is when P is equal to 1,250, which means that N is 13. You could solve the problem using trial and improvement, as there's a high probability that the answer is a low two-digit number because it's the cost of a meal. Or you could use a spreadsheet, which I did. Of course, you'd use the reverse percentage method, I guess. Well, that's what I did anyway. And you could also write a simple program if you wanted to launch more of a brute force attack. Anyway, the puzzle was adapted from the 2011 Senior Kangaroo Mathematical Challenge paper produced by the United Kingdom Mathematics Trust. So it's a good one for those studying percentages and want a real challenge. Okay, that's all for now. Enjoy April. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transum podcast. You can find the website at www.transum.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free, or jump in with both feet and become a Transum subscriber.